Brother Anwar, let's get to the conversation for the evening. We've spent so much time helping people stabilize, right? We've helped people, or rather, you've gone out of your way, reducing individual on a personal level, bespoke level, people's personal debt, and you protect what they have, right? And at some point, people realize cutting back is just not enough, right? How much more do you want me to cut myself up, into all of these pieces? You work down my, expenses. I used to spend 10,000 rand frivolously. Now I'm spending 5,000 rand. You've helped me with that. You've helped me with, this, that, and the other. Getting better interest rate solutions, and just restructuring as you do in your profession. Now, sometimes cutting back is not enough. All right? Cutting back is just not enough. Why is boosting cash flow such an important step, brother?
So what we need to remember is when money is a bit tight, we effectively have two levers we can pull, right? Okay. The one is cutting expenses, right? However, cutting expenses has a limit. There's only so much you can cut. And you cannot budget away where there is a permanent shortfall on a monthly basis. Yes. So the only way you can do that is by creating extra income. And what extra income does, it creates extra options and breathing room. So you can only cut down so much. At some point in time, creating income has to become one of the solutions you're looking to. And what it does is, if you do create extra income, it accelerates both your ability to pay off your debt as well as your ability to save and invest. And what this step is now is no longer about pressure, it's now about creating progress and growth.
Excellent. I love that breakdown. We want to save, we want to build, financial futures. So let's have this conversation after the ad break, inshallah. When we do come back, we're going to have a conversation with Brother Anwar talking about when people hear this terminology, earn more. Many people think about promotions and new jobs, but a lot of South Africans talk about starting a small business. Right? Let's have a conversation about where this all fits. Stay tuned. And we're back. Okay.
Financial guide from savings to startups, navigating your financial journey.
We are here, quite practically speaking, Money Matters Voice, the Cave 91.3 FM studio. We have Anwar Barnes, and we are talking about a very powerful conversation, very powerful topic, and that is about earning more, right? Earning more to pay off your debt and earning more to save and to invest, right? Now, we asked the question, Anwar, before the break. When people hear about earning more, many people think about promotions, they think about new jobs, but a lot of South Africans also talk about starting small businesses. Where does this fit into this topic and this conversation, earning more?
So remember, like I said, you can only cut so much, right? What you want to do is earn more. Now, yes, some people may have career advancement opportunities. If they do further qualifications, they work up the corporate ladder, etc., they can progress that way. But the reality, most people don't always have that opportunity. Some don't simply want to pursue that corporate ladder. They want to create something of their own, right? So starting a small business is one of the most common ways people can use to boost their business. And for many households, it starts as a side income. That's very important. That maybe it's doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that there, while you have your main work or your main salary job, and not necessarily a replacement income. So what does it mean? I earn my salary of 10,000, 15, 20, 30, but maybe I do something on the weekend and earn me extra 1,000 rand, 1,500 extra weekend. What does it mean? It's extra 5,000 and 6,000 rand a month possibly, right? So it can be very powerful when done properly. However, it can also be risky if done emotionally and under pressure. If you're under pressure and you're now looking for something to start and it doesn't make sense what you're doing, it can also cause problems. So what we say is starting a small business shouldn't be seen as a get-rich-quick scheme, but rather as part of the framework of how you increase your ability to earn additional income 100%. Through small businesses and side hustles, etc.
So it's not a quick fix.
Not a quick fix. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. That's not what it is.
Now, why do you say that people should be so careful when they're starting a business to earn more? What's this thing to be careful about?
Firstly is desperation can lead to bad decisions, right? A lot of people start businesses. Why? I need to make extra money because I'm under heavy debt pressure. So I'll give you an idea. They will then fund credit
Yeah.
to fund the idea that's not been tested. They see something, oh, maybe I can have it happen. I can give you a true story. Somebody thought at some point in time, oh, they can make money with a vape shop, right? Borrowed money on the wife's credit card to purchase the vape shop. Vape shop, unfortunately, when all these air pops and these portable things started coming in, the vape people never really started buying those fancy vape machines anymore.
Got you.
Right? They started buying disposables. What happened? Somebody else came along and said, I'll buy your stock. Right now, that person is now sitting without this stock and owing the money on the credit card, which is in the wife's name. All right? So they thought, oh, we could start this business borrowing this money from the one card, etc. You end up in a worse situation. Didn't research the business.
Got you.
Borrowed money off a credit card when you were already tight with cash flow, etc. So the thing is, you don't want to start something out of desperation when you're in a fix and just thinking anything will work, right? You don't want to use credit to fund ideas that are not tested, because it often worsens the situation instead of improving it. And what we should remember, a business is there to solve a cash flow problem, not create another one. So many times people are married to an idea. I got this idea and I believe it's so brilliant and I need to do it, but it just simply doesn't make money. And eating this and going after something that doesn't work, right, is as dangerous as, if not more dangerous than not tackling the debt head on. So yes, sometimes you want to make more money, but you also have to do it in a way that mitigates risk, that you don't just jump into something where you're actually going to be worse off after having done this.
And that's the thing, because you never know. You won't know what will work 100% and what will not, so there's always that element of, if it doesn't come through, can I manage my life with it not working out?
Yes. So you don't want to risk it all from the get-go.
So I mean, look, now I'm very apprehensive. I'm more scared and fearful now talking about starting a business, just by those two things that you took us through. So where does starting a small business fit really, considering all of this, into the financial fitness framework?
Yes. So where it comes in, this comes in after you stabilize your finances. Remember, you got your budget under control. You have a plan to hold your debt, even if that plan meant that you had to go under debt counseling or to reduce it. But you have a plan going there. You're starting to build up your emergency fund. You've got the necessary insurances to make sure if anything happens that you are protected. Now you want to look to accelerate your growth goals, your building wealth, but also accelerate, for example, paying off your debt, etc. Right?
Correct.
So you need to have basic control before adding any form of complexity. Because believe me, starting a small business does add more complexity into your life, right? What's very important, the business also needs cash flow discipline. Too often I find that somebody starts a side hustle, they get a bit of money and they just start spending that money on something, and whatever money they made ends up bringing no value, right? Because there's no discipline with the cash flow. So without any structure, that extra income just disappears quickly as if you never made the money. However, when aligned correctly, that extra business income you receive, even if it is a 500 Rand a weekend or 1,000 Rand a weekend, that accelerates your progress. Be your progress being paying off debt, or your progress is saving, put away money to your emergency fund, investing money, etc.
I mean, that's a lot to consider. I do hope everybody's pens and papers are out. If we focus on small businesses, right, like you are talking about now, so profoundly, okay, what does starting the right way actually mean? Let's talk about that part.
So this is the thing, right? What happens is, I see someone and they are doing this and they are successful, and they think, hey, wait a minute, I'm also going to do that because I saw Imtiaz was successful in that, and what happens? I fail outright, right? Or seeing something overseas, hey, if I bring this idea here, I'm pretty sure I'm going to sell a lot of these widgets or whatever it is. You bring it over, you're sitting with a warehouse full of things, right? So what is it mean? Firstly, start small and test before committing. Don't buy 1,000 fidget spinners, 1,000, because everyone else is doing it. Then it turns out you're sitting with 999 after a couple of months, because everyone decided to have the same sort of once-off fad type of thing.
Yes,
what you want to do is you actually want to use skills you already have. Number one, and very importantly, you want to solve a real problem that people are willing to solve. If we can solve someone's problem that they're willing to pay for it, you right there have a successful business idea. From there, you need to execute. What does that mean, right? if you could have the fanciest, most magnificent, whatever gadget in the world, but if it solves no one's problem, who is going to buy it?
Exactly.
But if you find a problem that's worth, now what is a problem that is worth solving? Oh, a lot of kids are getting bad marks at the school. Okay, what do you do? I'm a teacher. Hey, I can actually tutor teacher for extra on the weekends. Number one, it's a skill I already have. Number two, I'm solving a problem. Children with bad marks, right? Number one, what's a problem these days? A lot of people don't know how to do DIY, basic things around the job.
Correct.
I have a full tool set and everything. I'm good at it. I can actually go paint a room, hang a TV, hang a door, fix a cupboard, etc. First, find a skill that you already have and then see how you can use that skill to solve a problem that real people have. It can be you're quite a decent cook, and the problem is in your area, people are sick and tired of eating takeaways every night because both parents work. We actually want to eat home-cooked meals.
Correct.
Maybe provide home-cooked meals to busy working families or couples, for argument's sake.
Correct.
Maybe that's a problem area. So look for a problem you can solve and see how you can match it with a skill you already have, right? And also after that, very importantly, keep your overheads as low as possible.
Okay.
Don't spend unnecessarily where you don't want to. And this is a very important thing, right? This is where even experienced business people get it wrong. Separate business money from personal money early on.
Brilliant.
You're going to have a business bank account.
Yeah.
You're going to have your personal bank account. Why? You need to keep track what exactly is the business's turnover,
Correct.
what's the cost of sales, what is what they call the gross income, what's all the deductions. You can't see your KFC lunch coming off your business account because now do you measure where does your KFC come in your financials, right? So keep the, and then what's very important is cash flow matters more than ideas. I've seen so many people with great ideas, but they cannot convert it into something that generates cash flow. And we have this great idea where this thing can do that and etc. Okay, great. Are you selling any of that product? Are you providing a service? No, there's a gap. Great ideas do nothing. Adding value and creating cash flow by solving a problem with a skill you have is the right way to start a small business.
Cash flow is the name of the game. Now, I know you did this already. I know you spoke a little bit about small business ideas, right, that you see working, right? You gave an example of, a tutor, math tutor, someone with a, tool bag, someone that, knows how to cook, Are there any other businesses that you have seen working in your, circles?
So something that I've seen quite a few opportunities for the ladies, a lot of beautician and beauty adjacent businesses, stuff like these days the ladies are getting the lashes, the eyebrows. If you hear all the people say, Anwar, during December, I couldn't find my lash lady, everyone's booked out. Or I need to have my eyebrow, or I need to do threading, or those type of things. So there's a lot.
That's the need.
That's the need. The beauty industry has exploded, and there is a undersupply of qualified people, and it's probably one of the easiest jobs to do from home. All you need is your, what they call the plinth, your starter kit, etc. Not a lot of capital. If you have a spare space, you can do something like that, right? Some other ones that is also quite popular is, for example, the tutoring. Also, what we find is a lot of people that work many years in corporate doing administration, admin type work, and they would then outsource that admin work to smaller, more, let's call it family businesses that aren't used to that type of support.
Yes.
So there's a lot of people that have come from corporate environments. They can add their skills to smaller family-run businesses and give that support. Online services, there's quite a few online services with AI. There's quite a few things you can do with AI if you're that way inclined. Obviously, I'm not going to go into every detail, but what you want to do is you want to see how much time you have to commit to that business as well. If it's something that requires 40 hours a week, but you only have 10 hours a week, don't also go for it, right? But catering is the one that is popular. Cleaning companies. A lot of people want to have a reliable cleaning company who can come and clean my home. I don't want to, almost like a Uber for cleaning the company. Oh, I just found Anwar. Here's one of 10 ladies that can come and clean my house that has been vetted, etc. Those type of things, right?
System in place.
So those type of things. So look at what is their need. See what you can match it with. And remember, there's only two ways you can make money. A is selling a product. or providing a service.
Yeah.
So see what product that people are looking to buy, but there's a shortage in supply for, or there's an excess in demand for, that you can also provide. Or look at what services are short in that you can either already provide, or you can easily upskill where you can provide that service to them. And like I say, it can be anything from the catering to the beauty to something as simple as admin to tutoring, to DIY around the house, etc. There are many ways that you can earn that extra. And it's not about creating a multi-million rand job necessarily. It's making that extra 1,000 rand, 1.5, 2,000 rand over the weekend or after hours on existing skills you have.
And that's the safe way to do it. So you don't overcommit, purchase 9,000 or 900 fidget spinners, and like the vape shop scenario,
Exactly.
example, where you are going so far out of reach with what you can currently afford, and the entire business is dependent on the walking clients and, you know, general marketing, all of that stuff. So if we are to have a conversation right on the money here, talking about funding businesses with credit. You opened up a little bit with this thing, but why do you believe this to be such a difficult or dangerous idea?
So let's be fair, there are some opportunities where getting credit can accelerate the business's growth, but by often than not, if it is a new business, taking out credit only adds additional pressure to the business, right? Before the income is stable. Now, what you will find is you get different types of loans. Sometimes you get a business loan that has to go through the rigorous process with a bank to determine whether this business can survive a loan. And most banks will decline a loan for a brand new business in that instance, just represent too much risk.
Correct.
However, what people end up doing, they maybe have a job, they use their salary to take out a personal loan that pays that is 28% interest, or they use their personal credit card to fund this business, and that is where the problem comes, because that so-called loan hasn't been vetted. It wasn't like a business loan that went to the bank to say, hey, we can deserve to lend this money. You are simply taking money that or credit that you've accumulated through your personal credit score, taking that money, now putting in the business that you have no idea is going to work or not, right? So what it does, first, it adds pressure before the income is even stable. Secondly, any business, no matter how good, takes time to generate cash flow. However, debt repayments start immediately. So from the word go, you have to repay those debt, but you're not receiving profits. And what this can often lead to is deeper debt problems. So ideally, any type of small side hustle, part-time business, you want to start lean and grow from cash flow.
Yes.
That way it doesn't put unnecessary pressure on your business. Is it a slow way to go? Yes, but it's also a safer way to go as well.
We are after safety, specifically if the business is there to fix the debt and the over-indebted solution.
Correct.
You don't want to take yourself deeper. You want to be able to manage yourself
And
out of
grow it from there.
100%. Okay, so if we talk about the jobs, like you're saying, you're taking a personal loan, you're starting a business, and they have a 9 to 5. I know you answered this already, but can you go a bit more in detail, telling us around, should we leave our jobs to start businesses? What do you think?
So there's always the question of a so-called side income or side hustle as opposed to a full-time business, especially if you are someone who is working at the so-called safe salary job, right? So you at the safe salary job, you are looking to start something. Should you go all in and start a full-time business from scratch, or should you do a start from a side income? So if what you're doing is just to initially grow income, it's better to have your full-time job that acts as your stable base, right? So that you can initially start as a side business. Now, if it really takes off and start taking your time and start creating real income, yes, that can become a full-time business, but you don't want to necessarily start like that. You want to say, okay, I just want to make an extra 1,000 rand a week. What happens is you want to have that stable income. Every week you have your 5 clients or 4 clients, whatever you have to do, right? Then it also allows you to test something, because maybe this something was a great idea, but for some reason it just didn't work. Then you also, failure is not also going to be catastrophic in terms of what it costs you. It also gives you ability to fail, but there was always something that say, you always want to fail fast. You don't want a failure to happen over a long period of time. If something doesn't work, you say, you know what, this is not going to work. I can cut my losses as well.
Like that one.
Yes. And you can test certain things, and when you start seeing growth, there's a growth in your client base, etc. You want that growth to be gradual and intentional. It mustn't be all of a sudden 100 people found your product, now you sell a lot and you thought, oh, you made it, but maybe it's just a fad and a week later you're selling nothing.
Yeah.
You want to have gradual, intentional, growing client base. And what it comes from freedom, comes from sustainability, not from trying to rush to make as much money as possible. You want to slow, you want to stable or sustainably grow your income from that side hustle. As it grows, then you can judge whether or not this should become a full-time business.
100%. So look, we are definitely making some powerful headways here. We're going to go for some ads. When we come back, we'll go into another segment. We're going to understand in terms of practical examples of a small business, right? And how that practically boosts cash flow responsibly, because that is where we are engineering the conversation to, and that is a conversation of safety first. Stay tuned. Now, we want to go into some practical examples, right, of how a small business can boost cash flow responsibly, because that seemed to be the general
Yes.
term of the evening.
So let's, for example, take a household that has a 3,000 monthly shortfall. We've cut down where we can cut down. We've
Yeah.
trimmed all the fat, etc. There's no more room to move, right?
Yeah.
Now they have 3 monthly shortfall. One part of them say, you know what, I'm going to do tutoring on weekends, or I'm going to advertise that I can paint a room or do whatever the case be. I can help. I have a bucket. I can help move over the weekends, etc.
Yeah.
Right? Now, generates 1,000 in a weekend. It can easily be, and I mean, I give a proper example. I had somebody that had to get a couch for me, move it from one place to my house. That person had a truck on a Sunday, took the truck, charged me around, maybe came out clean with after costs and whatever, for argument's sake, say 700 Rand.
Yeah.
He does one of that a weekend, it's 2,000-3,000 Rand a month, right? So remember, we're not looking at doing anything crazy necessarily here. So does something, maybe make a 500 Rand a Saturday, 500 Rand a Sunday, or make 1,000 a Saturday, makes 4,000 for the month.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, that 3,000 shortfall is covered, and you have extra income that can go towards extra debt and or savings.
Yeah.
And what it does is that sacrificing that Saturday morning or Saturday whole day or Saturday and Sunday morning all the way takes, all of a sudden you go from a what you call it, a shortfall to a surplus, and you can actually accelerate your financial goals.
Wow.
And what happens is you're allowed to grow your business. Maybe you start getting more contracts. Maybe you start people that are helping you.
Yeah.
Who knows what happens?
Baraka just opens the doors of
Yes.
opportunity. It's amazing how that happens, eh?
Exactly.
Sometimes.
But you have to roll up your sleeves and make some kind of
Yeah,
effort.
absolutely. I was just going to unbutton mine now, but really, as you were talking. But that's not all we're unbuttoning this evening. We will be going into the next conversation here, inshallah. We're already at that time, or rather, already at that point here, right? So let's, I probably have about, 2-3 more I want to go through with you just before I release you. And I want you to talk more about that cafe burn thing that will be happening. It sounds so exciting, If we are to talk about a business, right, that starts to generate income like you so adequately as we have put, okay? 700 in a week, you're well over 2.8 for the month now, and then more opportunities and contract starts opening up, right? What should people do with that income? I have an extra 2.8. Anwar, what do I do now?
So this is the important part, and I see it often, right? Somebody has an idea, they do something, start making extra money.
Yeah.
But what happens, they don't use that extra money to accelerate their goals.
Yeah.
One of the biggest culprits is something called lifestyle inflation.
Ah.
All of a sudden, wait, I'm going to eat out. Wait,
Yeah.
I'm going to buy that
Yeah.
shoe. Wait, I'm going to buy this
Yeah. I
particular
was gonna say
jeans.
waffles now. That-
Yeah, I
that gets
deserve this. I'm going to
Yeah.
do this extra. Don't fall into that trap.
Yeah.
Remember that getting or earning extra income through a side hustle or a business is part of the larger framework,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You want to use that extra income to accelerate those other goals. For example, you want to use that income, that extra income intentionally. What you want to do? You want to strengthen your emergency fund. Remember a few episodes back,
Yes.
spoke about building an emergency fund.
Got you.
You want to accelerate that debt payoff or that debt reduction. We spoke about the debt detox. You want to take that extra income and shove it into those credit cards and personal loans, etc. Right? We're going to talk next week about investing and building a legacy. You want to take extra money and build up investments instead of making someone else rich by paying them interest. Invest your money in suitable investments. We speak about next week, where you actually grow your wealth instead of you making somebody else wealthy. So it's not just about creating the extra income, it's also about using it intention in a way that accelerate your other goals as per the other steps of the fitness framework, the financial fitness
Lots of
framework.
maturity, lots of discipline. You need. I mean, I'm bringing in 5K more than what I used to earn, and immediately I just want to go to the shops.
You know,
Like I said,
so
bite it.
so here's the thing: if you're going to rely on discipline, if you're going to rely on if you're going to rely on motivation, it's not going to work. What you need is a system. The moment you start making more money, you automatically say, "I'm making more money. I need to transfer extra 500 rand a week into my savings."
Gotcha.
When you have a system in place, you don't need motivation. You don't need discipline, right? Because most people. Or
You just need to follow the system.
some days you're going to be motivated, other days you're not going to be motivated. What's going to happen? Or you're just going to let everything fall loose.
Yeah.
But if you have a system, it doesn't matter whether you're motivated or not. It doesn't matter whether you're disciplined or not. The system ensures that what needs to happen
Got you.
happens.
Yeah.
So don't rely on discipline. Don't rely on motivation. Create a system, and that is where this financial fitness framework is actually a system you can follow. So you don't need discipline. All you have to do is follow the check boxes.
Wow. Well, I mean, I do hope that people have their books and pens out here, because we do have to come to the final message on boosting cash flow, right? We had so many different explorations and so many different discussions around business and generating additional wealth. So, what is the all-in-all message that you could say that is around this boosting cash flow? Right?
So, firstly, it is a mindset change, right? Because I have so many people, Anwar, I'm just good at my job. I don't know how to start a business, all those type of things. We are there to say making extra is not that difficult when you have guidance, right?
Got you.
Number one, look at what skill you have that you can monetize.
Yeah.
Number two, look at what need is out there in the community.
Yeah.
And it's not, I promise you, it's going to be sometimes the most simplistic
That's true.
thing. It doesn't have to be the next generation of wonderful ideas.
Yeah.
A simple need. It doesn't need to make you millions. It can make you a 500 rand, 1,000 rand a weekend. That extra 4,000-5,000 rand over and above your existing income is maybe just what you need just to create that breathing room, right?